Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back again. Today in this video, we'll be seeing a very simple component which has a multiple combinations of cylinders as well as rectangles and holes, etc. So we'll see how to make this component when there are two views given using our CAD tool, which is CATIA. Now, first, let us try to understand the drawing. There are two views. There is the front view and the top view, as you can see. This is a third angle projection. So to begin with, let us start with a 0, 0 location and then slowly start working on our model. Here it is a simple part model, hence we'll be using a part modeling module only. And we do have a few diametrical dimensions here, and we do have a square dimension here as well. This symbol indicates that it's a square. That means the cylindrical component is only till here, as you can see, and this particular 8 is a square of 67. Same way, now to understand this feature, you can see there's a feature goes this way and then adds here. This is again a cylindrical component, and this is again a cylindrical component which is of 30 dia, as you can see, diameter. There is again similarly, you can see another addition. This is also a cylinder where you can see 38 dia, 20 dia, and you can see the diameters for this, and you can see how these are made. You can see 28 here. Since we have already understood that this is the front view and this is the top view, we'll consider this as a 0, 0 and begin making our model following every single dimension as you can see on the screen. Let us start by using our part design module as usual and start beginning with our 0, 0. Before proceeding further, I would like to make this model by maintaining all the dimensions. To do so, I need to take these references. So before making the model, let me try to take the references with respect to the center. I have a point here, again I have another point here too. We know that the distance between these 2 points as a reference is 8. I am trying to take this end as the reference, so when I am making this complete cylinder, I will not have to repeat the 152 and 125 or 70 multiple times. So there is another one 70 towards the bottom. Let's try to dimension the 70. And now we know that from here till the end is 152. So from here till the end is 152. These are just my references. I am creating them only to avoid the repetition of my dimensions. Now let us begin making this by using a shaft. The only command you can use to make these kind of features is shaft. So you can use the shaft directly. You can make the sketch prior to the command or inside the command, whichever you are flexible with. Let us select the axis. I am randomly taking the axis, crossing these two. Now, we do know all my references. This is the first reference and this is the second reference. So we can use them instead of repeating the 70 and 120 over and over again. So I am taking these two as my references at the moment. Since we are only supposed to work on one side, let me try to start from here. Take this and go all the way there and then go straight. Let me constrain this first before going further. This is what I am trying to make actually, to make it as a cylinder. The outer one here is 72. We'll constrain one after the other and go so you can understand how it works. 8. And we actually do know this is 40, but the height of it depends on the overall feature. So let us not include this immediately. Now we do have a circle starting from the center. We do know the center is here. You can see it here. The outer is 60. So let's try to take that from here to here. Let's try to take it as 60. We do know this is supposed to be 60. I'm taking it as diameter and saying it's supposed to be 60. Now you can trim off whatever is not needed, of course, because we do have some extra portion which is actually out of the body, and then proceed further. The proceeding should be of 40 throughout till here, which is this as my reference. So let me try to take a line in line with this and create a straight line. Now I do know that these two are together, so I can corner these two by using my trim. This is your 40. Now you can simply close the sketch and then create a shaft. This is how you create the outside part of your body. Now, by doing these references, it makes your model easier to control our references and work on your features. Now we do have a square on top of this, which is of 67, which is on top of this. So I can directly select the pad and work on it. Since we already have all our references present, all we have to do is take a centered rectangle and maintain the dimensions of a square, which is 67 by 67. I don't think it could. Let me try to constrain it. I don't think it got constrained. Now, this is up to a height of 8. Again, we have already taken our references at the height of 8, as you can see the point. So when I say instead, I'll just select up to the plane or up to the face and then give the reference over here. Or actually, I'd like to take a plane here and parallel to that. Okay, it should add till that particular. This is your reference. Now, similarly, there are two others here. Let us begin with this. This is at a distance. This is exactly at the center. So for us, it will be a little more easier to work on. The maximum dimension of this cylinder is actually 28, and this part is added a little later. So let's try to take that at a distance of 50. Here we can use shaft or we can use pad. The reason why I'm using pad is I can directly give up to next and then add the material. In shaft it might get a little complicated to use our references. So from here we do know that it's at a distance of 50. So I'm taking it at a distance of 50. On this I'd like to create the circle, whatever the circle is here, which is the 28 dia. So when I take the 28 dia directly, I can just directly use this and give it as 28. Now it is a little more easier for me to add the material this way rather than using my, this is the up to next addition. Now we do have this shape also which is supposed to be added. So let's try to do that. Here we'll not be able to use a pad command. So we'll simply use a shaft to create the same. We already have an axis which is this center as the axis, and of course we require this end as our reference. So we'll take this as a reference too. Now, if we want to take the reference of a cylinder also we can, there is no issue with that. We can take the end of this cylinder as a reference too. Let us try to make that semicircle which we are seeing over here at R3. So let me try to take a small semicircle this way and give the dimension of R3 first, and then later dimension the diametrical as well as the distances. The distances are actually at 20. This does not exactly start from the center. So let's try to do this and give this dimension as 3. Now we do know that the distance from this end to this end is 12. So let's try to do that as well. We do have another line here, and this is supposed to be vertical as well. Great. Now let us try to take it from here to here is supposed to be 12, which is already given over here. And we do have R3, and the overall requirement now is a diameter which is 38. So we can take the diameter from here, give it as 38. Now we can simply close this and create a simple shaft. So when you do so, it tries to create this type of a feature, as you can see as per the drawing. Similarly, we do have another addition of material on this side, as you can see. But to do so, again, we require references, and to avoid repetition of dimensions over and over again, I can directly use the plane in the reverse direction to 50, and I can again take a plane at a distance of 8 and start working on the model. On this, we do have a circle which is of this diameter, which is 30, and it is added up to the next body it can find. So instead of using shaft, I'd like to use pad. It's a little more easier to do so. And the diameter of that is 30. Since we already know the diameter and the details, let us try to take the center, give it as 30, and then add it up to the next. Now when I say up to next, it directly adds till the body and you can stop the feature. While doing shaft, you might face difficulties by taking the references. As in some body might be in the air and some body might not be in the air. This is actually at a distance of 125. So let me try to change that sketch. It has to be at a distance of 125. Let me just go back to the left view. Should not be at 0, 0. It should be at a distance of 125. So let me try to take that first. The distance of 125 is actually from the bottom. This feature till here is supposed to be 125. You can also maintain the reference in the beginning while we were making these points as well. Supposed to be 30. Now, in this we can start adding this material. Here you can either use shaft or your pad, whichever you're comfortable. I am comfortable using pad, so I'd like to use pad here. Selecting this as my feature. Let me try to flip the model and now try to create the circle. I'll maintain concentricity with this and try to give the dimension for this and say this is supposed to be 70. The 70 is supposed to be added till only till this space or up to the plane whatever we have done earlier, you can see, and you can add the material. This is how you do when you have multiple features as well as multiple dimensions controlling the model. From here, of course, there are a little more easier ways of performing the internal cuts, so we can see the internal cuts as well. So let us try to make this cut first because we do have a dimension depending on this cut. So we'll try to make this and then slowly proceed further. To do so, you can either take a plane at 5 from this cylinder by maintaining tangency, or you can use a simple groove cut and maintain 5 and cut the material. Groove is a little more easier than taking a plane at tangent and then making another plane. So let us try to use our references. This is my axis. Now I do require this reference as well. So I'll be using a simple reference option. And then I'll be using this as a reference option and then slowly work on it. Now I do have a simple rectangle from this reference. Let me try to take this as a reference as well. Now I do have a simple rectangle from here which goes till here. Now the dimension should actually be maintained from this end as 5. Now I'm trying to maintain this as 5. Or I'll do one thing, I'll take another reference here. I'll take this reference as well. So I can maintain the reference line here. Now I can start giving my dimensions in a better way. So from distance from here to here is supposed to be 5 and the diameter what it is supposed to maintain is 20. So let's try to take that as 20. While doing so, we can always use a diametrical sectional cut and also work on it. As you can see, this will be your cut. From the internal cuts now, if I have to show you the internal cuts now, this is the front internal cut as you can see. Now I'd like to use my shaft and select the front plane and start working on it. As usual, I'll be using the ends of my references points first, and then I would require the internal cut as well, as in whatever is the internal body. So I'm trying to take the section view and I'm trying to use the internal cut of my feature as well. Now you can either keep it this way and work on it, or you can hide it as well. Since we have our references, I'm hiding the same. I'm taking now the axis as my reference, and now I'd like to make the sketch. Whatever sketch you're trying to make can go one after the other, or you can make it simultaneously. There is no issue. Go somewhat like this, and then it has a small cut this way and goes down. Here there will be an arc. I'll try to use a 3-point arc so you can see how it works, and then it goes down, goes this way, cuts a smaller one and goes this way, cuts a bigger one and cuts a little more bigger one over here, and it closes. This is the internal cut which I have at the moment. We can do it one after the other. There's nothing to be worried about. There's nothing I want to. Yes. Now, to begin, let us start dimensioning from the top. I do have this as 3 first and the diameter as 35. I have this as 3 as well, but the diameter is 30 here. Now I do have this one as well. The diameter is actually 22. Now I do know the distance from this edge to this is 8, which is already given in the drawing, as you can see here. And I know that this particular dimension is again 30. So let me try to take that as 30 as well. I need the axis, so I'm just going down. It's already by default 30, so I'm just not troubling it much. I think I have constrained it at the top. Now, this dimension again should be constrained. This is not in line with anything. This is supposed to be 25. So let me try to delete the constraint, whatever is keeping in line, and give this is 25. This depth is again 3. So let's try to give this as 3. I'm going one after the other. Now, this and the outer circle are actually concentric. The outer circular concentric. So I can just directly coincide, or I can maintain concentricity. There is no problem at all. But I'd like to coincide this with the center to avoid further issues. And the dimension for this one is actually supposed to be 50 dia. So I'm going to change this to 50. You can see that there is a 50 dia here. Now the bottom one is actually, the internal cut is actually again 30 and the outer one is 35. So this is supposed to be 30. I could have given it in relation with the top one, but it's okay. Again, I do have 2 and I do have 35. So this is 2 and the diameter is 35. This is the full body. This is supposed to be a vertical line. Let me try to make it vertical. This is your constraint sketch. So once you exit, you try to remove the material from the inner side and you can see the feature looks like this. Now we do have a 20 dia feature here as well. So I'm trying to take a hole here. It's a very simple hole. I don't have to use shaft or anything to perform the operation. So I'm just trying to maintain concentricity in the beginning, as we always do in our videos. And the diameter is given and the end condition of course is given. You can see the cuts. Last but not the least, we do have few holes and rounds. So let us try to make those. The first holes are on this particular face. You can select the face and start making your points, or you can directly give your circular pattern. So while taking a hole, I can decide on where the sketch is. So I am selecting the reference over here and I want a circle to be done first. So I'm just taking a circle. I'll maintain the concentricity in a bit. Okay, I'll just try to constrain this and I'd like to constrain this as well. Now, this one actually is 4, which is resting on a 58 dia. So I'm just taking this as 58 dia. And there are 4 circles which are at 45 degrees. So I'll be using a bisecting line or a normal line. Let me directly try to take a bisecting line in between these two. There are no lines already. Okay. Take an infinite line from the center and give it 45. You can use a bisecting line, but since there are no lines in previous, it didn't let me. My point now is exactly at this location, which is on the 58. So I'm just trying to use my point there. Since I'm already in a hole command, it should already create a point here. So I'm trying to coincide this on the axis first, and then I'd like to coincide this on the circle next. Once I exit, you will see it is forming at that particular axis. Now the dia of this particular circle, the internal circle is 7 and it's up to the next. So you can see that it creates the hole. You can create a simple circular pattern to create the multiple features, complete crown. I want 4 of them, and with respect to this reference element, you can see it creates 4. Similarly, I do have 4 here which are at 46 TYP on both the sides. So before that, I can use pattern. I'd like to use the point user pattern. So I just place the point and start mirroring the point 4 times, so I don't have to repeat it multiple times. I can select these 2 and repeat onto the other side. Since they are maintaining 46 on either sides, I'd like to take 46 first. And then I'd like to take 46 too. Now exit. I can directly give the hole first at the direct location, and the dia is actually 8. So let me try to give it at this location at 8 and say up to next. Now while giving a pattern, I can directly use user pattern since I already have them and say okay, it directly creates the pattern. Now you can start giving your rounds. Let me try to give the rounds here first. 8. There are 4 rounds at this end which are of 8. Similarly, all other rounds what you can see are of R3 typical. So let me give it one after the other. This is the first one I have, the second one, and I do have a round here as well. I do have a round here and sorry, I do have around this edge as well as this edge. I do have a round here too. So these are all the rounds which are actually there, which are of 3. You'll be able to see. The one round which is not let me try to check one after the other. Let us try to see what is creating the issue. Oh, it's supposed to be 3, right? Okay. I think the last one is actually creating an issue. So let's try to skip that. Now say okay. It creates the round. We can give the round to that one now as well. Can creating okay. We'll just try to give it as 1 or 2. Creates the round. This is how you create rounds as well as maintain all the models and make these kind of models using CATIA as a CAD tool. We do have more advanced level of trainings in provided at our institute. You can feel free to browse. I'll give you the details in the description below. Meanwhile, like and subscribe to our channel so we'll keep posting more videos like this. Also, before we exit, I'd like to show you the section view. As we have seen, the section view actually looks like this. Thank you.